Hazard pay is in the third stimulus package. It's $1,500. It's if you're an essential worker and worked during the pandemic and made less than $25,000, you can get a $1,500 earned income tax credit. This is on top of your $1,400 stimulus check. But in this throwback video, I explain how you can potentially get more if they bring back that hazard pay from 2020, that $10,000 hazard pay. What's an essential worker? Who's an essential worker? Will they bring the $10,000 hazard pay back into the mix? Enjoy this throwback video explaining all the details of hazard pay. Why does it feel like it's become hazardous to wait for hazard pay itself? Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LLate. Hope you're good and safe. This is Afternoons LLate that starts every day at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Starts with a check, then goes to hazard pay, FPUC, and finally rent assistance and rent eviction moratorium. Hazard pay has become and still remains that secret child of the second stimulus package that no one wants to admit they have. It's sort of like a love child that's out there, and no one wants to admit that it's there, but they still love it to death. Let me get right to the details. The second stimulus check package, revelations, deal points became great news on Monday, really great news, when Steve Mnuchin revealed to us what there was agreement upon and what there was not agreement upon. It came hours after Nancy Pelosi really confirmed much the same, and they talked about the elements, the amounts of money, where they're far apart. Nowhere in there did they say they did not agree upon hazard pay, which is not a big ticket item. And nowhere did they say in there that they weren't on board with the logicalness of hazard pay. Rather, what held up the second stimulus check negotiations last week was a big bailout of states. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats proposed a $1 trillion bailout, which I detailed extensively yesterday. And that bailout, Steve Mnuchin said, no way, no how, I'm going to the mat for it. Now, here's a couple things that are really quite shocking about this bailout in the context of hazard pay. The context of hazard pay is that the first time the stimulus check package was approved, it gave fortunes to states, counties, and cities to pay you as essential workers. Many of you who are viewers of this channel are firefighters, city employees, public work officials, sanitations, or you work as an independent contractor for the cities. You qualify as an essential worker under the second stimulus package, which I'll get into in a second. But a lot of you didn't get any of that darn money. It's like, LLate, I didn't get that money. I got a pink slip. I got fired. I saw the comments overnight. Hundreds of you said, I was a firefighter. I got laid off. I didn't get a penny. Well, guess what? Your state has your money. Your state went to the federal government and asked for fortunes for you and manifested the story that you're an essential worker. They couldn't pay your salary. They wanted money for you. And guess what they did? They fired you and kept the money. Well, what's that expression? Cheat me once, steal me twice. I'm messing it up. You know the expression. Well, those same people, those same governors, those same county and city mayors are back with their hands out like a scene from Oliver and are asking for seconds like it's a soup plantation, all-you-can-eat buffet. And they're saying, hey, I want some more money again. Give me some money. How much? I want $1 trillion. And let's have Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats write it up. And let's present it to Steve Mnuchin. Well, Steve Mnuchin said, wait a second. I remember you. You were that state that came around in March or May and said you needed all this money for your essential workers and all this money for your bailout because you couldn't pay salaries. I gave you the money. I have the money right in front of me. I'm the Treasury Secretary. I keep track of numbers. And he does. He really does keep track of numbers. I'm not being facetious. That is what he's very good at, and everyone really respects him on. And he says, I have the numbers here. You haven't spent the money. You haven't spent the money, and I even made the classification clearer and broader so you could spend the money on your essential workers. Now, these are comments that Steve Mnuchin made on Monday to CNBC. He made it very, very clear why this money was allocated in the first time around for governors who pleaded their hearts for the money. got the money and didn't pay it, and now Steve Mnuchin said not enough is enough. So this second time around, these governors want to do the same thing again. As you sit here, you're thinking, wait a second, I'm a little confused, LLA. There's hazard pay from the federal government and there's hazard pay from the states. So why is this impacting my hazard pay under the hazard pay bill? It's not. It's preventing its enactment into law. The hazard pay, by all indications from Mnuchin and Pelosi, has been agreed upon during the negotiations of the last 2 weeks. They've reached an agreement upon hazard pay. But it's in a second stimulus package that has a lot of stuff in there. And one major thing that is $1 trillion, a bailout of states, again, is not being agreed upon. And that bailout of states represents they're going to pay you hazard pay. Why are the states paying you hazard pay when the hazard pay bill is in the bill? Get your butt back there, states. We know what you're doing. Stop using me, your essential worker, as a way for you to get a check so you can go mow the front lawn. That's what they're doing, and someone caught on to them. Now, the real issue is, when would you see your hazard pay? How much would you see your hazard pay? How do you qualify for hazard pay? And I fully understand yesterday was a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. Most watched day, I think, ever in this channel. 7,000 new subscribers, and a lot of people were asking me questions. What is hazard pay? How do I apply for it? All those wonderful things. So I have to go over that right now, even though you may be an old-time viewer and you understand I've covered it before. So let me go over it right now. Hazard pay is a bill in the HEROES Act that would establish a fund for you to get paid for your work during the pandemic. Hazard pay's calculation is the following. It's based upon the number of hours you worked from January up to the present to determine the first lump sum. It looks at normal hourly, overtime hourly, part-time hourly, any type of hourly. It takes that number and it times it by $13 an hour, and it gets a number, it gets a calculation. It then will pay you a lump sum of up to $10,000 if your 2019 earnings were less than $100,000. And if your 2019 earnings are more than $100,000, then you'll just get $5,000. If you do that calculation and you're not at the threshold yet, you're less, let's say you're $3,000, no worry, you still get that lump sum. If you're over the threshold, then you would not get any more. You would just get the $10,000 or $5,000. People have asked, what if there's different jobs? Yes. So if you had different essential worker jobs, they would both apply, shall apply. More about that verb in a second. Shall apply. And then, so you could have $2,000 from one boss and $3,000 from another boss. Doesn't matter if you were fired, terminated, laid off. Doesn't matter if you quit. Doesn't matter if you no longer work there. And for people who work on a gig job, not an hourly, it causes some realm of confusion, but the bill says that you are eligible. So an example is truck drivers have dropped in the comments to my early videos on hazard pay over a month ago, said, oh, I know how many hours it takes me to drive the truck. I drive the truck, I mark it down. I know how much that is. Now, the boss may not mark it down, but I mark it down. So that's how basically it would work for someone who's on the gig or does it by the job. You would have to have some accounting of how many hours it is. Really, really, really great news. Now, next two questions are the major question, and boy, people stop me on the street, sending me an Instagram. How do I literally overnight, every single question almost has been about hazard pay. It's like every one of their sisters just found out. It's, this is what happened with FPUC and PUA. People initially didn't know it existed, and then there was this sort of swarm when people heard about it. Hazard pay is getting a lot of coverage now in the last 3 days, even though I'm the only one that's really covering it day in, day out for over a month. How do you apply for hazard pay? Okay, put down the coffee, put down the sandwiches because you're about to choke. You don't apply for it. Who applies for it? Your boss. What if the boss is bankrupt? I don't know. What if the boss doesn't have any business anymore? They close their doors? I don't know. What if the boss is a jerk? I don't know. What if the boss fired me? Still has to apply. Okay, does the boss have to apply, LLA? Okay, don't put any food in your mouth, put all your hands on the table, get all sharp weapons away from your hands, because I'm about to tell you the bad part of the bill. The boss does not have to apply. Yes. And the bill actually says they don't have to apply. They can if they want to. So if they're in a really good mood, they can apply for your $10,000. Otherwise, if they don't feel in the mood to give you the $10,000, to get the $10,000 for you, they just don't have to. Yeah, it is the bad, really bad part of the bill. I don't know if that part of the bill is going to survive. There's a Mitt Romney bill that is also in the Senate that actually corrects that and says they have to apply. And I would assume that Nancy Pelosi, who can go to the bat for everything else, can figure this one out, has an error in it. That this voluntary, discretionary, if they feel in the mood, if they're having their hot toddy, I'll apply for hazard pay today, despite the fact that they may have been very angry yesterday. So I'm not applying for that damn hazard pay. We just don't know if that part of that provision is going to survive. Next, who are essential workers? Oh my God. I got to tell you, this is sort of comedy hour, and I'm not doing it now, but I'm getting incredibly hilarious requests from people like, I'm going to embellish it. But it's like, I'm an adult dancer at Tina's Time in Atlanta, and I'm essential because I'm really essential for some men. I'm clearly a frontline worker. I should get hazard pay. Let me send you my number and my pictures. Can you determine whether I'm essential worker? LLA. Yes, you can send me as many pictures as you want, Tina, but I would choose you as essential. I would definitely choose you as frontline, but the bill does not allow you to be essential. For some reason, a lot of viewers are trying to pitch me on who's essential. I'm not here to be pitched on who's essential. It's not like the guy in the blue shirt gets to decide who's essential. I mean, I would clearly put not essential. The four people in that negotiation room, Nancy, Steve, Chuck, and Mark Meadows. Well, Mark Meadows would be minus essential. There's something called not essential. He would be negative essential. But I'm not here to decide who's essential, basically. And then someone dropped in the comments, says essential workers under the bill is just only grocery stores and pharmacies. No, I don't know who's selling you that snake oil. Has some fish oil instead of snake oil. That's just not true. The bill has enormous classifications, which I've done 10 videos on, literally reading the bill line by line with the viewers of this is what's essential, that's what's essential. I'm not going to do it today. I think I said I was going to. I forgot. I can't remember everything. But let me just tell you who I clearly recall were essential in the bill. And it was pages of lines of items. All right, get ready. Everyone for transportation, trucks drivers, Uber and Lyft, taxi drivers, anyone that drives a truck, anyone that drives a train, anyone in aerospace, whether you're on the plane. I think I messed up the word for flight attendant yesterday. I apologize. I don't know what word I used. It was the day in which I said your stimulus checks are coming next April. Yeah. I love when you realize I'm making an error. It's when the people don't realize I'm making an error. That's a little scary. So if whatever word I used for flight attendants yesterday, I apologize. I don't know what it was. But everyone on the plane, in the plane, below the plane, on the plane, not the snakes on the plane, but everyone on the plane, well, it's not the patrons, are essential workers. Everyone in the grocery store, essential workers. Everyone in the medical building, essential workers. And I get that question a lot. I only, clean the bedpans. Am I essential? Yes. You don't have to be the doctor to be essential. Anyone in the medical facility, in the medical building is essential. Farms, anyone in the farm operation, absolutely essential. Security guards, essential. Dentists, essential. Pharmacies, essential. Boy, I think I covered most of it. Warehouse and shipping and receiving, essential. USPS, essential. I have a pretty good memory. I think I covered most of it. I may have left out a few, but the ones I get a lot of, security guards, essential. I get a lot of people where they're like, I do this for that. It's not so much what you're doing, it's the industry, what's essential. The bill is focused on essential, and I need you to understand these three things as we go forward. One, I don't care what your boss said to you. My boss said I'm not essential. I'm sorry, he's a jerk. I don't care what he said to you. 2, I'm essential because the city where I am called me essential. No, the bill has its own classification for essential, so you need to throw out whatever your city, county, state, or your Nana says about you, whether you're essential or not. You have to throw it out. It's what's in the bill. It's not what the guy in the blue shirt is trying to pitch. 3, there are areas in the bill that are gray areas that are clearly not clear. So the ones I always talk about are my Sam's Club, Costco, Walgreens, CVS. It just really depends. Uber Eats and Uber Eats, DoorDash are absolutely essential. Food delivery is absolutely essential. Now, finally, the big question: what do I do, and how do I get this money? Well, the bill hasn't passed. When it passes, there's going to be a Hot Mess Express, and it's going to be delivered by Uber Eats, maybe, I don't know. And some employers are not going to pay for the money. They're not going to apply for the money. And I'm going to be here. You're going to be here. We're going to figure out how to get this money. This is going to be the next EIDL of this channel. I guarantee you, the next EIDL loan, where people don't know how to get the hazard pay, want guidance as to get the hazard pay, the employer's not cooperating, and I will be here to help you. So if you saw my video yesterday, you're like, hey, we're getting $10,000 tomorrow. No, I did not say that. I wish you were. But hazard pay is a great thing for a lot of people who deserve treatment for what they did during this pandemic. You are frontline workers. You are people whose services are valued. So go to the front of this channel, hit that subscribe and like button. It's so important to hit it because especially when we're talking about hazard pay, it's important to understand what things are. And it's important to get notification as soon as something happens. I will tell you when something happens, whether or not there's a video or not. I will drop it in the community message. So hit that subscribe, and there's a little bell next to it, an alert. 7,000 of you did it yesterday. So thank you for the new 7,000 that are in this community as we go fast. Coming up next is FPUC, PUA, and UI. And on that video, I'm going to go through the programs again because I haven't done it in a while. And then finally, rent assistance and rent grants and mortgage forbearance. As always, stay motivated, stay inspired, and stay with Ally for more.